I again spent a lot of time with and have spent time with over the years. We've grown together as great friends, and I just love the financial world and everything. They bring a lot of stuff to the whole Myecon family on the financial world. So again, for some of you, you have heard him and heard already, but I guess have not. So I like to present to our guests, to our associates, and introduce our guests out of Greensboro, North Carolina, Mr. Strozay and Bonita Hill. They're going to talk to you about putting this plan together. And everybody who had this plan together, they ain't struggling in the pandemic. I want you to know. So this is the man and the woman to know and to do this plan. Strozay, I see your screen. Are you ready, sir?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
We can hear you and see you. I'm going to mute out and you can do it, sir.
You can do it. I'm good. All right. Well, welcome, everyone. My name is Strozay Hill, and this is my beautiful wife, Bonita. And we're going to have some fun today because we love what it is we do. And we're just going to call it freestyle. You know, we're going to freestyle. So the bottom line is, folks, we have a task put before us today, which is talking about the personal cash flow plan. Now, everything you heard today, you know, when it comes to adjusting your W-4 and you save that money, you have to do the right things with it. The Smiths did not teach you that so you can find extra money to go spend. All right. So again, when we improve our credit scores, we didn't show you how to do that so you can find extra money to go blow and spend. All right. So the McKinleys, they made sure they shared with you their lives and how they work together, improve their credit scores so that they can have more money to do what's right for the family. And then, of course, our good friends, Marion and Rosie. Man, when we talk about couples that are in love working together, which is what this is all about, folks, we didn't say you're going to like each other every day, but the bottom line is you're in love and you know that you have each other's back and you know what you're fighting for. So that's what gives you the opportunity and the reason to do what's necessary. We call it a compelling reason. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And we want to make sure that you understand how this works. So I'm going to let my wife tell you a little bit about our family, and then we'll keep it rocking and rolling. Vernita?
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. As Strozay said, my name is Bonita Hill, and I'd like to thank our team members, all of the couples that presented before us, and Mr. Curry for definitely having a vision. Actually, Stro and I, we've been married for 31 years. We have 2 adult daughters that reside in New York City, and so we're empty nesters. And we just thank God for Myecon because it definitely complements a business that already existed prior to Myecon. I'm an educator by trade. When Stro was first introduced to just the financial arena in the beginning of our courting stage, I was not interested because I went to school to teach. But again, if you're not around the conversation of owning your own business and you're thinking, okay, being an educator is definitely going to deliver for me in a big way, I was sadly mistaken. So it took my first paycheck. Look, this is before children, pre-children, to really see. As a matter of fact, I'm going to just go ahead and be transparent. I brought home, after taxes, after health insurance, $900. This was back in the late 80s. Yes. And so I quickly figured out I had a little sports car. My parents automatically start forwarding all of the bills that I created in college to me. And then I realized I really had no money. That was an eye-opener for me. So I said I would just go get a part-time job. At the time, it was called Revco. I don't know if you guys remember Revco. I'm telling my age. But I started working part-time at Revco. When I say I worked like a dog after teaching all day, I worked like a DOG. And that little $200 was not getting it. So at the time, Stro, I was sending people to him. You need to talk to this person, that person. And he started showing me some paychecks that he started receiving just off of my referrals. And that was the first wake-up call for me to say, you know what? I'm working way too hard. I've got to start working smarter. So I went out, got my license. It wasn't easy, but I kept trying. I didn't quit. So I am a licensed professional in life and health with our firm, and we haven't looked back since. So it is definitely an honor to be able to present for everyone today, especially our new guests.
Boy, that's exciting. And again, I think it's important to maybe share what actually happened. You know, people like to know, how did you meet your spouse? Well, I was in college, and and prior to college, I don't know about you, but I was raised by a strict father, strict family, period. Mom and dad, they didn't play, and I'm the oldest of 10. And of course, when it came time to get, graduate from high school, my dad looked at me and he said, "Son, where are you going?" And I looked at him because he had just said, "Come go with me." And he asked me again. I said, "Well, I'm going with you, right?" He said, "No, son, where are you going?" And on that third, "Where are you going?" I got it. My dad was kicking me out the house. He said, "Two grown men can't live together under the same roof, son. Now, one of us got to go. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't plan to go anywhere. So where are you going?" Folks, I got the message. I started shaking. I was telling him how I'm going to school, this, that, and the other. He said, "Well, son, I don't have any money to send you to college, but I'm going to show you the next best thing." So long story short, my dad took me to an Army recruiter. I guess my dumb behind passed the test. Before I knew it, I had my hand on a Bible, hand up in the air, being sworn into the military. Then, of course, he took me home, paraded me in front of my mother, and he said, "Mamie, he's gone." And she said, "Jake, I know you didn't take my son and put him in the military." He said, "He's leaving here." He said, "Now, son, to be successful, all you got to do is obey orders." Now, sarcastically, I was thinking, well, that ought to be easy because that's all I've ever done living here. And he said, "First of all, you're not going to need any money because they're going to feed you. They're going to give you a place to stay and not charge you rent. And, of course, they're going to give you clothes. So what you need money for? So here's what you do, son." He said, "I want you to send all your money home to me. On payday, you salute them, put it in a money order, send it home." Now, that was before direct deposit. So, again, as my wife said, we tell her, hey. So, again, I did that. I was obedient. But I experienced something. I saw what all my other buddies did. On payday, they got paid on Friday and they were broke by Sunday. And I even had one friend who told me, he said, I asked him, "Why were you in the military?" He said, "It was either that or go to jail." I said, "What do you mean?" The judge told me to go in the military because I was, I don't know what you do with checks when you don't have no money, kiting checks or whatever. But he said, "I thought as long as I had checks, I could use them." And I was like, are people really that ignorant? So the Lord was setting me up for what it is I do today. So again, folks, I saw how people handle money. They don't. They just make it and spend it. And that becomes the norm. So when someone gives them the solution that can help them, then they start questioning the help, but they don't question the hurt. So y'all just forgive me because I get excited about what I do because this is not play for me. I take what I do very, very seriously, and you'll see that. So on the screen real quick, and I'll tell you a little bit more as I go, you see that we have a fully licensed firm here. And we represent ourselves in Myecon as the Two Smart University. The two stands for the two companies who work together in tandem. One being the Legacy Financial Group, which is our actual firm, and of course, Myecon. We're teaching people the same thing. We're just fortunate enough to also be licensed to execute what they've been taught. So we take advantage of this because the SMART stands for saving money always requires training. And we have a university concept because it's about learning. And I'm just one of those folks, when someone says they don't think this is for them, I'm like, what are you talking about? You don't think that minimizing your taxes is important. You don't think that getting the best credit score possible so you can pay less interest on everything you use is important. You don't think having a plan to be debt-free and knowing the date you're going to be debt-free and then understanding investing so you can take the money saved and invest it, and your brain is telling you that you got to think about that, whether that's right for you. But yet and still, people max out their credit cards. They owe Visa, Discover, MasterCard. They owe them all. And again, I guess that's all right. I guess that's for you. So you got to make sure as we go through our presentation to tell you a little bit more about our stories, ladies and gentlemen, you look at this seriously. we are fighting for something that's so important. It's called personal financial success. Being able to make decisions not based off of how much you make, but based off what you want to do. You want to be able to do what you want, when you want to, where you want to, and money not be an issue. But there's a price you're going to pay for that upfront, in full, no discounts. That's just the way it is. Accept it. Now, y'all will notice something. I'm a straight shooter, can't help it. And that's why I love for my wife to do what she does, because she tones it all down. So it makes it so sweet. And she knows how to get to your heart, because that's what she does. So again, we complement each other, because at the end of the day, did you deliver? Did you put a score on that scoreboard? That's what it's all about. So you'll see that we're able to do a whole lot of different things. Also, I'm fortunate enough to have been blessed to have written a book called Living in the Overflow. And in this book, some people think it's about which investments to choose, this, that, and the other. No, it's not. It's about the mindset that a person needs to have. So when you approach about ideas when it comes to saving and investing, it all makes sense to you. You know, if you have never done it before, you can't lean to your own understanding and make a decision whether it's right or wrong, because you're ignorant about that situation. Now, don't get upset. Ignorance, not a bad word. We are all ignorant about something, okay? We just don't want to remain ignorant, especially about your finances, something so important that you got to deal with all your life. So again, we wrote a book on that, and we talk about what is called the 10-10-80. You know, 10% of your income is for giving, especially for those who believe. Even for non-believers, when you give, you get to write that off of your taxable income. When you don't give, you get to pay taxes on it. Now, if that's good enough for the creator so that there's income here for creation, it's also good enough for you to know that you need to pay yourself 10% of your income. Now, 20% is gone and you're living off the 80, which means you've never learned how to spend 100% of your money. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a mindset. That's a mindset. I guarantee you, if the mindset for people going out into the workforce would follow these principles, you wouldn't have, or America wouldn't have the challenges that it has today. So again, keep that in mind. And again, if you're interested in one of those, you can go to twosmartevolution.com and you will see the bookstore. Feel free to put in an order. Very inexpensive, but a lot of information that can help change your life. So we're going to take a look at Deuteronomy 8:18.
But thou shalt remember the Lord thy God, for it is he that giveth thee power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant, which he sware unto thy fathers, as it is this day also read. Chapter 8, verse 17, 19, and 20.
You know, folks, when you read scripture, everything that we're doing, there's nothing new under the sun. It's all in the word, okay? I'm not that smart, but I read the word and I saw what it said about finances. And I'm the kind of person that says, you know what? I didn't make this up. The Lord said it. And I don't mind sharing what I call the good news. So we're going to take a look at the personal cash flow plan. Now, y'all might have thought I forgot to tell about what happened. So real quick, before we go in there, I do want to say, after being in the military, and of course, I was introduced to working like a dog. I don't know about y'all, but I was actually in school full time after the military. I did well, and they offered me an opportunity to become an officer. And I didn't want to do that. I just want to do my job and go home. And the bottom line, they said, well, if you become an officer, we'll pay you. And I've said, where do I sign? And I did that. So one day I was on my way to drill, and I walked into a Hardee's restaurant, and there was this young lady over there behind a cash register taking orders. And I had worked at Hardee's, so I never seen her before. So I said, let me get in her line. So I did, and I ordered me some food. All right. So not only did I not get what I ordered, she screwed up my order, because she said later, she told me that the manager had just stuck at a cash register and said, go for it. Yeah. And that's how she learned. So I always tell people, I went to get me a biscuit and came out with a wife. And that's what happened. That's where I first met my wife. It was at a Hardee's restaurant getting me some food to go play Army. So the bottom line is, folks, you know, after that, of course, we started dating, and to be honest with you, my roommate liked her. About 6 months went on. I just asked him, I said, man, are you ever going to say something to this young lady? And I said, because if you don't, I am. And the rest is history. So we're married with 2 children, having an absolute ball. But ladies and gentlemen, let me explain something to you. These steps that we're going to go over today, do you think people need to know about this stuff?
Heck yeah.
See, it's important to know that there is a solution for your finances. Now, here's the secret. We know people need it. You got to want it. There's a difference. When I was young and dumb, I thought everybody wanted personal financial success. So I'm running around trying to help everybody. I found out there's some people that don't really want to change, don't really want help. Now, if you could do the I Dream of Genie and do like this, of course they would take it. But if they have to change, have to get on a webinar, have to go to a meeting, anything important to change their life, they're not ready to do it. So that's okay. We know they need it. The question is, do they want it? So the bottom line is, what we're about to show you is so important. Folks, it'll change your life. So you ready to get into this?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. All right, so the personal cash flow plan, you can view steps 1 through 8 in your training manual. If you log into your back office, as we refer it to, your business management center, you go into the training manual, look at document 807, and that'll be 5-1 through 3, and you will see all of these steps in there. So everyone should know how to get there, all right? So we're going to go ahead and rock and roll. Let's take a look at step 1.
Okay. The uniqueness of our company is that, they're teaching us, they're showing us how we can become successful just by following the steps. So in this first step, as all of the couples prior to us, they said, each one of these, you are in a race to acquire as much cash flow as possible each month through business income. That could be your plan B, later to become your plan A, show you how to reduce your taxes, and adjust your W-4 to help you to find that additional cash that you're looking for. Show you how to lessen your expenses, stay on your budget, eventually eliminating your debt, and applying all of that cash flow to the steps in the system that has been talked about throughout this entire morning.
Step 2, notice what it says. It says, set up a beginner's emergency fund. You need I'm going to say 3,000 to 5,000 in the fund. Use a money market fund or municipal bond fund to keep it separate from your regular checking account. If necessary, make periodic deposits until you get the 3,000 to 5,000 and then stop. Now listen, if you already have the 3,000 to 5,000, then move your emergency fund to a separate account from all your other funds. See, what you're going to learn here is you have to have what is called named accounts. When you name it, you take control of it. If you know this account is only for emergencies, that's what you use it for. You don't use it for anything else. But if you don't name it, it could possibly be used for anything. Now, notice the important steps or remarks that's made at the end of this sentence. It says, do not go to step 3 until you complete it, step 2. Now, let's talk a little bit more about that emergency fund, because it's one of the biggest challenges that I feel we have in America today. First of all, we said to get the 3,000 to 5,000 as soon as possible. This is your beginner's emergency fund. Now, your goal, in other words, you're not finished yet. You're just getting started. The goal is to have 6 to 12 times your monthly cost of living or your salary on hold before you feel like you've arrived. Now, let me explain something to you here, folks. You see, the emergency fund may require you and your household making some adjustments. Okay, Bernita and I we can tell you, we sat down with our family many years ago. And I remember I knew what I had to do to deliver. And we held hands and I said, look here, what do y'all want from daddy? I said, now I can come home like a regular person, 5 o'clock. We can sit down, hold hands, be in love and sing Kumbaya. But at some point we might be doing it outside because we won't have a house. But we'll be in love, because that's what the world tells you. All you need is love. Well, guess what? I said, or you can give Mom and I the opportunity to do what's necessary to build a legacy to change our lives. And that's what we did. So the bottom line is, folks, our family, our girls said, they told us to what? They said, go for it, do it. And I said, so what we'll do is when we do have fun, we're going to do things that other people wish they could do. Go places, have fun. I mean, when you've been places and your children come to you and say, Dad, I don't care what we do. Can we go back there? You know, that was awesome. You know, that's what you work hard for so that you can play hard. So keep that in mind, folks. But you're not through with the 3 to 5. You need to get 6 months to 12 months in the hole. Now, it needs to be semi-liquid, but not convenient. If you can go down there and go do to a machine, that's too convenient. You're not going to have money when you really need it. You got to put some distance between you and the money that you must have if something just happened. We just bought a furnace, didn't we? Yeah. $10,000 for a furnace. Okay, you know, but you know, I practice what I preach. You know, your furnace is not going to last forever. Your air conditioner is not going to last forever. Your water heater is not going to last forever. If it's man-made, at some point it's going to break down. So we pray. My mom always said something, when you don't know what to pray for, she said, pray for wisdom. You're supposed to be prepared for those kind of things. Your car is going to break down. You're going to get a flat tire. It just makes sense to do that. That's why I personally don't allow people to say, well, I don't know if this is for me. What are you talking about? All right. So you got to keep that in mind. Partners must be in agreement to what an emergency is. An emergency for a man is different than an emergency for a woman. Would that be correct?
That is correct.
All right. And because of that, you got to be on the same sheet of music so that you'll know when you'll access that particular account. Now, in the word in Amos 3:3, and I think Rosie or Marion might have alluded to this, it says, do two walk together unless they have agreed to do so. You know, it makes no sense in any kind of relationship, partnership, whatever, for one to bring it in the front door and the other take it out the back. Well, how's that going to work? So again, it's important as couples to come together and communicate about what's important and then come into agreement and then run from there. That should make a lot of sense. And then in the end, you need to make extra money to build your emergency fund faster. And we believe the best way to do it is in, of course, Myecon, educating others what to do. Here's the secret. If you have to teach somebody else what to do, you have to learn it. And that's how we all get better. Or if you choose not to, we're not saying you have to, but you still should practice the principles if you want your life to change. If you got broke principles, you stay broke. All right. But if you don't like being broke, busted, and disgusted, you're going to have to change. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to tell people. So overtime, if you can work overtime on work, you cannot justify spending your overtime. Okay. That's extra. Mom always said, son, put money away for a rainy day. So your overtime is your rainy day money. That's how you build your emergency fund or do what we call part-time work. Notice what we don't have on here. Did I say do a part-time job? No. And as my wife told you, that's how I got her. When she said, I got 2 friends that need help, I said, only under one condition. You come with me. She said, I don't want to go. I said, but they're your friends. So she went. And when I showed her what I was paid helping 2 friends for about an hour each, she said, I work all month and don't make that. I said, I know. Why you think I keep telling you need to be in business? And that's what changed it all, folks. And then she got in business. And I'm telling you, that's the way it works. So let's take a look at step 3.
Begin investing in a retirement account of some kind, such as a 401k, 403b, Roth IRA, simple IRA, a SEP IRA, or an annuity. If you can, put in the maximum, one goal, 10% on a monthly basis, but at least 5% of your income. Do not go to step 4 until you have completed step 3.
Now notice, this is the area where you begin to pay yourself. Now the goal should be 10% of your income. But you know, they're being kind here and saying, well, if you can't do 10, do 5. Now let me explain what you're actually doing here. You're exercising the muscle that's necessary to get you started and on the right path. You got to start practicing saving money. After a while, it becomes a habit. Now, because we are licensed in this particular area, I want you to understand you are now entering what is called the accumulation phase of your investment life. You're starting to accumulate wealth, and that's what it's all about. Now, you got to learn how money works. So the way money works is we teach people what is called the rule of 72, which is the approximate number of years it takes money to double given a rate of return. So it's real simple. If you're given a 3% rate of return, you divide that number into 72. The answer is 24. So it would take your money 24 years to double. Now think about this. Something else that our wife and I never did. We never told our children to put money in a bank. My kids weren't taught that. To me, that's the seed of poverty. Banks are for people who don't know what to do with their money, so they give it to somebody else who does. And they wonder why they broke. All right? So we never told them.
I ain't tell them.
All right. So the bottom line is, quick story. You remember the girls was getting ready to go on a trip?
Yeah.
And the old story, right. Astoria, our oldest, was getting ready to go on a field trip, and she was 4 years old. Now, I went on all those trips. People used to look at me like, what do you do? I eventually told them what I did. But my point is this. So she wanted to purchase what is called a Lunchable. I don't know if they still make them, but I'm sure they do. So that's where you have your sandwich and some fruit all in a little container. So we went to the store. We went to a Food Line. And I'll never forget, I picked one up. That bad boy was like $4 or $5. I looked at that story. I said, you know what? You better fix yourself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I said, I ain't paying no $5 for this. And you know what my 4-year-old daughter said? She put her hands on her hip. You remember what she said? What she said?
I'll get it from my mutual fund.
She didn't say mutual fund. She'd get it from what? My mutual fund. She said, I'll just take it out my mutual fund. And this lady was pulling a cart, and she stopped, and she said, what did you say, little girl? She said, I'll just take it out my mutual fund. And the lady said, I done heard everything now. And my point was, yeah, we now know what to do with money. All right? We're not putting it in no bank when we're trying to build wealth. Now, I didn't say if you got money there, you're a bad person, but that's just a holding place until you know where to put it. Now, let's say you got a better rate of return of 6%. 6 goes into 72. 12 times. So your money doubles every 12 years. You're getting 12%. It doubles every 6 years. But here's the problem. There's more money we're about to show you, and people have settled for getting less than 1% on their money. Now, y'all get your calculators out. Get your calculators. Y'all might need it to do this. Divide 1 into 72, which you come up with, let's see. Okay, 1 into 72 is 72. So what that means is, ladies and gentlemen, if you have your money in a bank paying you 1% or less, it takes your money 72 years to double. Now, here's the point.
Is that a typo?
No, that's not a typo. That's the real deal. 72 years to double. But those people right there, because that's their tradition, that's all they know, they'll argue with you and I when we tell them you can get a better rate of return somewhere else, and they want to give you the reason why they don't think that's what they should do. That's why we still have people that's going to be broke. They're going to pass poverty on from one generation to the next. That's just the way it is. Because their brain, they're leaning to their own understanding, and their understanding is limited when it comes to their finances. But it's tradition. That's why we're traditionally broke. So again, when you understand how money works, you can change your situation. Notice what it says here. Compounding interest is the most powerful force in the universe. Those who understand it earn it. Those who don't, pay it. Which one are you? So when we talk about retirement, all those things that Ms. Hill just said, I want to make it clear. There's 2 things you need to make sure you understand. There are retirement plans. You see them all on your left. And then there are what is called retirement vehicles. Now, we teach you here in Myecon that you have 4 investment options. You have cash equivalents, you have bonds, you have stocks, and you have real assets. So again, folks, you have to determine which one of those vehicles or a couple of them that you feel comfortable with based on your knowledge of how they work. And I'm going to tell you right now, some of these things that people jump into just because they heard they can make a lot of money may not fit your investment profile. All right. You may be scared half to death, and that may not be for you at this time. You can grow into these things, but I believe you should start somewhere where you feel comfortable and then grow from there. So if you look at this chart, down at the bottom is the most conservative. And as you go up, it gets a little more aggressive. Now, when you get into picking stocks and real estate, things that you better learn and know what to do. Okay. Yes, you can make a better rate of return, but you better know what you're doing. And that's why we have competent people in our company that are doing trainings. You got June Collier out there training people. You know, we train people, and that's what it's all about. Your job is to plug in and get better. That's all we ask people to do. Plug in and get better. But don't get these two twisted. Some people will say, I want a 401k, but I don't want a mutual fund. See, that person's confused because they don't understand that the investment vehicle is what you choose to fund your retirement plan. So keep that in mind. Don't get it twisted. Now, if you look at 2020, you got some things that'll keep you abreast of how much money you can put away. Here are the limits. How much you can put into your traditional Roth IRAs. And for the Roth IRAs, there are some what is called income limits. After a certain point, you can't put money in a Roth. So take advantage of it. And the reason you want money in a Roth, because all the money on the back end after 59 and a half, as long as you've been in it 5 years, is tax-free. So here's a place to shelter money and never pay taxes, and most people don't have one. Now, again, we market these for especially folks that get involved with us, you know, because I make it very clear. I'm not educating people so they can go to a Bank of America or go to Wells Fargo. If that's the case, let that president or those presidents come here on a Saturday morning, educate, teach you. See, we're going to have to learn at some point how to do business with one another so we can affect our economy. Because if you make money and take it straight over there, I guarantee you the CEO of Wells Fargo doesn't live in your neighborhood. Guarantee you. All right? But we do. And that's why we take time out of our busy schedules to educate and train people so that we can improve our economy, not just your economy, improve our economy. So keep that in mind. And you see right there, you can put 57,000 in a SEP. That means if you made that in Myecon, you can write all of that off of your taxable income and lower what you pay. So, folks, that's what it's all about. All right. So let's take a look at step 4. Take all the rest of your available cash flow after living expenses and set up a Myecon debt elimination plan. Pay off all your consumer debt, not your mortgage. Notice it said consumer debt. Do not go to step 5 until you have completed step 4. Now, this chart here, this is what we train on a regular basis. Okay, so Vernita's going to explain that to you. So you got an extra $1,000. All right, I tell you what, I'll go ahead and do it. You got an extra $1,000, and that may have come from you adjusting your taxes. The Smith showed you how to get your own money back. That came up to an extra $300 to $600. You may decide to get involved with us when John Pettifidel went over the compensation plan. You might want to help a few people to bring in a few extra dollars because you know it's important to not only do it for yourself, but teach others. And then, of course, you reduce your expenses. You heard Mr. Curry said they turned off the cable. Do you remember when we turned off our cable? Yeah. Folks, we were sitting down one night. It was family night. Every Friday night, family night, we came home, we was watching TV, and they started saying some stuff that my children started asking them questions like, you know, and I said to Vernita, I said, I don't feel like answering these questions right now. So we turned off the cable. Our cable stayed off for 11 years. Our children didn't grow up watching television, okay? But they grew up learning that their mom and dad had a business, and they had to work in the business. At 5 years old, Astoria, the oldest at the time, was in kindergarten. Her teacher called the office one day, and she answered the phone. She said, I don't know if you were there or not, but she said, hello, this is Hill and Associates. How may I assist you? And it was her teacher. She didn't know. She said, hold, please. She said, Dad, you have a call on line 1. And she said, the only one you have. I said, just give me the phone story. And it was her kindergarten teacher. And the teacher said, hold up, Mr. Hill. She said, by any chance, was that Astoria? I said, yes. She said, my God, I knew she was smart, but I didn't know she was that smart. I said, she got to eat, don't she? That was their job when we picked them up from school to work in the office. They did file and answer the phone. So, folks, you know, there's all kind of opportunities here to empower your family to get what they need so it becomes a habit So when they get on their own, they know what to do. And it's a beautiful thing when your child call you up and say, I got $20,000 or $30,000, Dad, what do I need to do with it? That's a beautiful thing, as opposed to, Dad, I need $20,000 or $30,000. Do you have some? That's a different conversation. So here's what we do with that debt elimination program. We found the extra money, and this person's got a car, Visa, mortgage. So what we're going to take that extra $1,000. Let's say we added to that car note. Instead of sending $545, we send them $1,545. What would have been paid off in 32 months, paid off in 12. Then we're going to take that $1,545, add it to the next bill, which is Visa. Instead of sending them $200, we're going to send them $1,745. That would have took us 78 months. We pay them off in 5. Now, folks, we're going to quit right there because we said don't pay off the mortgage yet. So we're going to keep rocking and rolling. Let's take a look at step 5.
If you are not maxing out your retirement investments, raise payments to the max, which was stated in step 3. Do not go to step 6 until you've completed step 5.
Step 6, take all your available cash, take all your available monthly cash flow and build a full emergency fund. Remember, that's the 6 to 12 months. All right, you just getting by with that 3 to 5. Now you need to do the real deal. All right, this fund should be built in 6 to 12 months of living expenses. Building an emergency fund to 6 to 12 months of living expenses should happen fairly quickly because you have extra cash flow acquired from less taxes, less debt, less expenses, and you made a decision to build business income. Do not go to step 7 until you have completed step 6.
Step 7A, if you are renting, buy a home and proceed to step 7B. If you are buying your home, go to step 7B. 7B says, take all of your available cash flow and pay off the mortgage. Do not go to step 8 until you have completed step 7.
So again, now you're going to take the extra money and you're going to accelerate your mortgage. So this person here got a 30-year mortgage, 360 months. They're going to take that extra $1,745, add it to their $1,200 mortgage payment, send them $2,945, and knock out a mortgage in 68 months. So, folks, this total example, the total debt eliminated was $225,000. They did it in 85 months. They saved themselves $352,000, and now you got an extra $2,945. So when people say they don't have money, yes, you do. It's just that in your mind, you got something else to do with it. And if you want to get free, get with somebody who cares about your life and let them show you how to do it. And stop questioning the help and continue to question the hurt. Question what's hurting you, what got you in the situation. Stop questioning what can help you, because that's backwards thinking, and I'm not going to get into where that comes from. Step 8, build. It says start building an investment portfolio over and above your retirement account. You have endless options: stocks, bonds, real estate, mutual funds, ETFs, annuities, etc. Attend the Myecon Invest Smart training seminar or some other investment class before beginning. Congratulations. The millionaire inside has emerged. So this goes right along with our goal of having 1 million millionaires in the next 10 years, folks. And we pray that you want to be part of that. Now, let's take a look at a new step, step 9.
Okay, so step 9, I need to put this disclaimer in there. This is not a Myecon step. It's not. However, not yet, but it is an important step. So I want you to consider this. Consider protecting steps 1 through 8 that we just mentioned by protecting your most valuable asset, which happens to be your income. Note again, this is not a written Myecon step and is used for training purposes only. And for more details and clarity on this particular step, we invite you to attend one of our 2 Smart University trainings, Living in the Overflow Super Saturdays. All right, so let's take and delve just a little bit deeper into what step 9 is. This is how life really works. Remember our mission statement and our motto here? We focus on personal financial success, which is cash flow needed to support our lifestyles during our working years and our retirement years. Let's take a look at some of those entities that take place that we are responsible for in our working years. We have young children, we have high debt, we have a mortgage, we have car or cars, we have college to pay for, vacations that we'd like to take, weddings, jobs, business or both, stocks, bonds, and real estate. Now, in our retirement years, things are a little different. Children are grown, your debts are a little lower, your mortgage is paid, assets and investments, you have those in place. Note, retirement income is generated from retirement assets. That is important. Now, if we follow this green line that you see on your screen, in the early years, we can all agree that we don't have a lot of money. But in the later years, you better have some moolah.
You got that right.
But we know that there are some obstacles. But one of the beauty of being involved with this wonderful company, Myecon, is that we always offer solutions to any obstacles or what we deem as problems. Some of those obstacles mentioned earlier: high taxes, poor credit, high debt, inadequate savings and investments, and limited income due to inflation. A loss of income would be devastating. This is why step 9 is so important, because again, I want to reiterate, you are protecting steps 1 through 8. In the early years, you may need a lot of coverage, income protection. You want to have it to replace your income during your working years. Over the years, your needs are going to change. Think about it. Most people are kind of fearful of either dying too soon as you're working on your plans and your steps, or living too long and you haven't adequately funded those 8 steps that you put in place. Woo. 1 Timothy says, I'm going to have to blow up my screen over here. I'll put my glasses on, both of the two. Anyone who does not provide for their relatives, and especially for their own household, has denied the faith, is worse than an unbeliever. This is in the Word. Again, protecting your wealth as you grow. This is so important. Remember, we said this is income protection. What are you trying to protect, and what product do you use? Well, we educate on term insurance. Here we have annual renewable term, decreasing term, level premium term, return of premium term. And of course, if you get in touch with us and attend one of our seminars, we'll be glad to sit down with you and delve just a little bit deeper on what each one of these are and what the needs are for your family. Another form of income protection is cash value. That would be in the category of whole life, which is variable life, universal life, variable universal life. And I will note that anytime you see the word variable in one of these vehicles, before or even in between, that means this is monies that is invested in the market. And we also have indexed universal life. Now, this particular form of income protection is what we call permanent insurance. We have been very, very fortunate in our world, in our society, that now recently there have been some riders that have been put in place. There are a lot of companies that are getting on board with this because it is so important for our families. The first rider is critical illness. Critical illness covers major heart attacks, coronary, artery bypass, strokes, comas, invasive cancer, renal failure, severe burns, organ transplants. Now, the beauty of this rider is that if ever you are diagnosed or have any of these medical conditions, your policy is with that rider is there to help kind of offset some of the costs that you're going to incur to go through some of those treatments to help you with some of these ailments. The next is chronicle. It's chronicle. Okay. So the unique feature on the chronicle illness is that it addresses 6 of the daily living tasks that we do every day when we're healthy and we don't even think about it. But let you come down with one of these ailments that you see here on the screen and that I'm going to run through real quick, that can really put you in a bad way. Some of those 6 are not being able to feed yourself, bathe yourself, dress yourself, toilet yourself. If you can't control your bodily functions, and not just plain old being able to transfer yourself from one place to another, that deems and falls under chronic illness. And then lastly, we have terminal illness. This is when your physician has, kind of said, you only have maybe 1 to 2 years to live. Uniquely in Myecon, we're able to offer our families wills. In those wills, you can establish a living will, power of attorney. In other words, you're leaving instructions for others in your absence. See your Legal Club of America, and this is located in the ID Defender. Protecting yourself and your family, if you are a responsible person, should be the number one thing on your plate, on your platform.
So you say if they're responsible, this is stuff they should do?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And again, my question to you is, what are you trying to protect?
All right, we're coming down now. We almost finished.
What are you trying to protect? Now, if I could get 2 new people on the call, 2 new guests
for the first time,
if you could unmute, tell us your name and who invited you, I would love you to help me in this next part as we're coming to a close. I just need 2 guests who've never heard this.
My name's Natisha Loving, and I was invited by Rosie and Marion Sanders.
Okay, thank you, Natisha, for volunteering. Okay, I need 1 more volunteer. 1 more guest volunteer. Don't be shy.
My name is Kiana Williams, and I was invited by Sequetta Brand.
All right. Thank you, Kiana.
Both of y'all just stand by because we're going to ask some questions and we need you to respond quickly so that people can get a feel for what actually happens when you talk to people.
All right. So the question that's posed, if you had a machine that could print $100 bills legally, totaling $60,000 a year, would you insure it? So this question is for, okay, you already jumped in. Okay. Kiana?
Yes.
Okay, you would. Why?
Because it's something of value. It's something that you value, that you want to make sure that if anything happens to it, that you'll get it back.
Awesome.
Right.
You are absolutely correct. We probably have it set in a room somewhere. Definitely put up where if you have young toddlers or children, they couldn't touch it. You dust it every day. You oil it every day. You make sure you take care of that machine. Okay. So in this example, now remember, this is for example purposes because I really want you to understand this. Your income, we have 2 income producing individuals. Together, they have a total in their income, what they're bringing in their household is $60,000. So one spouse is earning 30, the other is earning 30. Total together, they earn an annual of $60,000. Now, let's look at some of their assets that they are responsible for protecting. Now, some of those assets, they would have the house with the picket fence. They have children. They have cars. They have a savings. They have retirement. They have college. They have the 4-letter ugly word, which is debt. Now, these are the assets that they're trying to protect.
All right. Now, the question here is, does anyone know the day that you will possibly leave this earth or want to know? What do y'all think?
Do we know the date? No.
No. You want to know?
No.
No.
Well, when could it happen?
Anytime.
So when should we be prepared?
Now.
All the time.
Right. There are some things you don't put off, ladies and gentlemen, and this is one of them because nobody knows. So if something happened to someone, that would be a loss of their income, and it affects your assets. What could happen to that nice new home you just bought? Y'all talk to me. What happened to that? Gone. It's called foreclosure. What happens to the standard of living you would have liked for your children? Does it go up or does it come down?
It disappears.
This is when you have to tell your children no. Didn't I say no? And you're not saying it because they're not deserving. You're saying it because you don't have no money. What happened to that nice new car you just bought?
It's gone.
It's called repo. That's when you look out your window at 3 a.m. in the morning and they pulling your ride out the driveway. Because you weren't smart enough to park it 2 or 3 blocks over. Well, that used to work back in the day, but now they got GPS trackers on your automobile, so that may not work. What about your savings? What happens with that?
It's gone. It's paying bills that you can't afford anymore.
Yeah, because when you're in desperate situations, you pull it from wherever you have it. It becomes your emergency fund because people didn't get involved with Myecon to learn that you have to establish one. So it's gone. And what happens to your debt?
It goes up.
It goes up. Only thing that gets bad in hard times is your debt. So this is the reality of what happens to people before they got their business built, possibly, and we know how to protect it. It's part of the process.
Okay, let's look at option number 1, which focuses on debt elimination. So we've already painted the scenario. Now, this particular family, we sit down with them. One rule of thumb is you want to have at least 10 to 16 times your annual salary or wages in income protection. So this example, both spouses have $500,000 in income protection. Okay. Now, my question to you ladies, if you have $500,000 in income protection, what could you do with that home to keep that home from possibly going into foreclosure?
Pay it off.
Okay, you could pay off that home now. Okay, children's standard of living would definitely remain the same. What could you do with your car payments? And
pay them off.
Losing your cars, you can pay them off. Absolutely. Okay. All right, you can continue paying into your savings, your college, all of those types of things. You could continue funding those. And what could you continue to do with your debt?
So you can answer your phone.
Okay, you would definitely pay off all of your debt.
Right, answer the phone.
Okay, so then you can answer your phone. Absolutely. All right, so this is option 1. Now remember, I want you to remember the mission statement. It is to build wealth. It is to build wealth. All right?
Now, keep in mind, what you just displayed is what most people are going to do because we have all been brainwashed that you're supposed to make money and pay your bills. But if you hang around in Myecon, you're going to learn that one of those bills you should have paid was yourself. And that over time, for some reason, gets to be neglected. So although you've gotten rid of your debt, the house is going to need repairs later. The car is you're going to need another one. And guess what? Most people are going to end up back in what? Debt. But here's what we recommend folks in our firm. This is what we teach our Myecon associates. That you should have took the $500,000, sought wise counsel. That means lean not to your own understanding because you are where you are right now, don't like it. Why would you follow your own thoughts? Get with somebody who might know a little bit more about it. We will show that person how to take 20 grand out the 500,000, and we will use that to take care of final expenses and catch the bills up. That'll leave them with $480,000. Now, what we're going to do with that is invest it. If we invested it, only got a 5% rate of return, that interest rate on that is going to be $24,000. We just made sure we went over this with our kids just the other day. Make sure our kids understand what's supposed to happen if something happened to their parents. Now, not only that, $24,000 a year in interest is a check for $2,000 a month. Now, I'm going to ask you a simple question. If you sought wise counsel, invested the bulk of the money, and you got $2,000 a month coming in, could you still make your house payment?
I sure could.
Yes.
And if you keep making it, it will eventually become paid off. Can you still make your car payment?
Yes.
It becomes paid off. Can you still handle your debt and answer your phone, not have to screen calls anymore?
Yes.
You can see, here's the deal. You replace the income. That's what tears up the family. There's no more income. If that person was a builder and you didn't know how to build that, what's going to happen to the business? So again, you're protecting yourself up front until you build your own income and don't have to worry about it anymore. So guess who the machine is? Fill in the blank, and we're through. Fill in the blank. Guess who the machine is? You are. See, and keep in mind, when you do it this way, you still have $480,000. So you are the machine. But if a person don't know this, and I can tell you, we've been doing this for 30-some years, it's getting worse. People don't know what to do with money but spend it. Okay? So we say seek wise counsel. Now, I'm just going to fly through this. This is called the DIME, and what this does, it's an acronym. Get with us. We'll show you how to do it. But it tells you how much protection you need, and we help our clients fill this out. This client here needs $1 million on one spouse and $750,000 on the other. Please make a note. $1 million only replaces, John Pettiford said it in his presentation, $1 million at 5% only replaces $50,000 a year. So don't get it twisted. $1 million only replaces 50 grand. You make 6 figures, you need 2 million. But if no one's never told you that, you'll mess around, maybe leave here, have a $50,000 program, $100,000, and that'll last you about that fast. Okay? And that's not the time to learn. So again, in closing, with step 9, this just gives you an idea that a person that's properly protected, getting ready to go on this journey to build a business, is very inexpensive. 30-year-old for $1.2 million, $107. A female is 86. 40-year-old is 178. Female 143. Women is cheaper for women, and we recommend people do this early. Now notice it says here, Megan's husband Aaron passed away unexpected. She's left with a mortgage and a new car payment that she couldn't afford. This is when it happens, dying too soon. So ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we just want everyone to know that knowledge is power when it's applied. You got to apply it. So all of these folks that if you're out there and you're couples, please understand something. Let's learn how to question the hurt, not the help. We're here to help you. It's all about education, and we didn't get it. Well, we got it now. And we got a formal way to educate people in a business that create tax deductions. And guess what? We take the saved money and invest so that our money will work for us at some point in time. So, Mr. Curry, I hope that helps a little bit. And might have went over, let's see, about 10 minutes. I'm sorry, sir. But it's my fault. I'll take it. It's his fault. All right. But we'll turn it back over to you.
Don't worry about it. We're here to